ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the desert, where we have snakes, scorpions, and also harpies. And also a very cool dog. And also a good boy. Who's a good boy? Ampu is a good boy. But now, gentlemen, I usually like more TikToks because we can cover more topics. But today what we're going to do is cover just one TikTok to, sort of get deeper into the female mind and what do they think. So this one says, do not project your complex inner world on men. Yeah, guys, because we are simple creatures. We are, in other words, stupid. And if you're a man watching this, probably your IQ is beneath 70. So let's try and focus all our brain capacity on understanding this woman's statements. And then for our article story, a woman, 25 years of age, has always been rejected and single. We'll find out why. But now, without further ado, gentlemen, let's get started.
Stop making up complex emotional narratives for men to explain why they're doing what they're doing, which is probably treating you like shit. Men are not raised to be either of those things, emotional or complex. And I don't say this to insult men because I couldn't care less about them. I say this because this will save you a lot of time as a woman. You need to be aware of this, because the worst thing that you can do for yourself, especially as a woman, is to invoke a complex emotional narrative on the part of someone who couldn't give less of a shit about you, who is not at all operating with a complex emotional narrative. They're operating on a whole different system. From a very young age, we teach boys to not tune in to any emotions, not their own and not that of others. That's what their behaviors stem from. Unlike girls, who are taught every time to empathize, and they are taught radical responsibility at a very young age, emotional and friendship responsibility really early on. A lot of girls are also enlisted in helping the family in ways that boys are not, like doing chores and helping out with little siblings. Things like that just set this fundamental difference in our respective emotional worlds, right? Because when you are sort of forced into the side of empathy and caretaking and radical responsibility, you think of the world differently than the person who was forced into ranks and competition and dominance, submission, hierarchies, right? That's what boys get forced into with things like boys don't cry and you have to be the best and what are you going to do about it? Are you going to let them treat you like that? They're taught that they have this inherent rank in the world based on their status or the amount of violence that they operate with, etc. The experiences that are...
Yeah, because that's literally how it works. I love these women trying to debunk reality, things that have always been the case. Men have to be competitive, women do not. Women do not need to compete against other women to secure men, excluding chads, which they very adamantly chase. But for the regular guy, it's not a competition. A good woman can secure any good guy. You know what I mean? Men have to compete, not only for women, in work, in every other aspect, to have respect, from other individuals. A man that doesn't perform well is going to be on the lowest tier of society. Not economically, maybe, but in terms of how people view him, socially. And it's these very same women that say how this is the patriarchy and this is toxic and all that. It's these very same women that will absolutely dismiss, trash, and disrespect a man who doesn't perform well in multiple ways. So reality speaks louder than their words.
That are traumatizing to men are not the same experiences that are traumatizing to you. They get traumatized by being outranked. They get traumatized by things not working out the way that they were supposed to, even though they did all the things that they were supposed to. Like, their offenses and their traumas are often hierarchy and system based. They are upset with the systems that were supposed to prop them up, and then they didn't. And this is a lot of ways in which they are upset by women too, right? It's always like, oh, she took stuff from me in the divorce. It's never that, oh, she stayed at home and birthed and raised children and kept our house clean and like all this stuff. So it's always, she took my house from me. She was supposed to just endure being treated like a rag of every kind. And she was never supposed to speak up or stand up for herself because she chose this rank, she chose this submission, and she was never supposed to take anything from a man. Men's trauma comes from being friend zoned, basically thinking you have rank and you don't. Not getting a promotion. Again, they were outranked, out competed with. Those are the things that they choose to engage with in a way that brings up any sort of emotion. They don't choose to engage with regular everyday things with the same kind of emotional engagement that women naturally have. Right? To them, the socks that are next to the hamper isn't a sign of his carelessness. It's a sign of his importance. He's always trying to see where's his rank at. To men, rank and status is basically, do I have to do things like everybody else, or am I exempt? And that's what they're always trying to test in the world. They're always like, can I get away with this? Whereas women are like, how do I cultivate something? So of course, in your head, you're thinking that he's doing the same thing as you, which is trying to grow and cultivate something, but he's not. He's trying to establish rank.
Yeah, guys, that's the explanation you have for men often leaving their socks in whatever place. They're trying to, assert dominance. In fact, at my professional job, I work in finance. I have my boxes just laying around next to my table because I want to assert dominance, like, I can get away with this. You thought that I couldn't, but I absolutely did get I absolutely did get ahead by leaving my boxes next to my computer. It's so hilarious. The way they understand the world is like this very animalistic, brutal way that men behave, like apes or something. No, madam, you will be surprised to find we don't leave our socks here and there because we try to assert rank or something. It's just we really don't care. We don't think about it. All right. So it's like, wow, have you been indoctrinated much?
He's trying to establish which one of you has more power in the relationship, and he wants it to be him. It's that simple. It's also why men will convince women
all right. No. In fact, I'm going to pause it again. What about women when they leave a bowl of hair in the shower because their hair falls off? How do you explain that, madam? Are they trying to assert dominance? Are they trying to establish rank? Like, take a look at that, you puny husband. I left my hair in the sink or in the bathtub. What are you gonna do about it, huh? You're my little beach. Like, jeez. It's not that deep, madam.
And he wants it to be him. It's that simple. It's also why men will convince women to do these like seemingly huge life changes for both of them, right? And it will seem like it's all like really well thought through and something that he really wants, right? Like having a kid with you or like getting married or like, proposing to you or whatever. But a lot of men do it when they start to fear being outranked, when their wife starts succeeding at her job, when their wife starts a business and it's taking off, when their wife, is graduating with a really prestigious degree. That's when they want to propose. When she's winning a race, that's when they want to propose.
No. First off, men don't want to be with women who earn more, for the majority of men speaking, not because they really care, but rather because they fear or are concerned about that you will stop disrespecting us the moment you earn more or you have a better career or something like this. That's the root of it. We men, we really don't care. In fact, most of us will be happy if you earn more than us, right? If it were left to us, we wouldn't have a problem. The problem is you, madam, and women like you who care about those things. That's why women want men who are taller, men who are stronger, men who earn more. Notice how they always date up, because it's wired in them. They don't want a husband that earns less, all right? It's coming from you, really. You will be shocked to find. This is also why, this explains why women with better careers, and I say better very loosely, but the more higher up careers, let's say, and the women who earn more, they divorce more, all right? So it's all coming from you. You are the one who wants the husband to earn more, not the husband, the one who wants you to earn less.
Somehow being recognized for her achievements. That's when they want to propose or marry you or get you pregnant. Again, this whole time you're thinking, wow, like he's ready for a family, he's ready to marry me, he loves me so much. The narrative is not that complex. It's actually very simple. He's just jealous of you. So he's doing something to outrank you so that he can push you back and more easily outrank you. That's all he's doing. There's no complex love narrative behind it. It's simply that he wants you to start planning a wedding now so that you don't come out of grad school and get an awesome job or whatever. Now all of a sudden he wants to marry you now that your small business is taking off. Now he wants to have kids with you now that your small business or your social media is taking off, because he feels outranked and outdone, not because he's ready for that stuff or because he loves you so much.
Yeah, guys, in fact, I had a girlfriend We were in love. We were just such a good relationship, but sadly, her Instagram profile took off, and I had to immediately cut it. I felt so threatened. You know, I felt so insecure. I crumbled within myself the moment she received 100 followers on Instagram. It was such something that I cared so deeply about. Like, sorry, but that's a non-negotiable. If your socials take off, I'm off the relationship. Absolutely, guys. She said something else I wanted to comment on, but it's all just such a bunch of bullcrap that I cannot even remember.
The reason that they so often leave, even despite doing these things, right, or cheat or hurt you in one way or another, is because this was never a complex emotional narrative for them. It was just a chess move. It was a power move. They didn't think through all the consequences of it. They didn't think through all the implications of it. And then once those consequences and implications happen and start, you know, actually having an effect on their life, they just want to bounce because it was never that deep for them. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. Men learn about the world by observing hierarchies, ranks, competition, power dynamics, all those types of things. Women learn about the world largely and often through community, through...
I agree with that statement. I think it's true. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing that we're different because women, they are better at understanding communities and other people and sympathizing, all that. Men are better at just performing jobs, doing what needs to be done, you know, establishing rank. Men are better at leading. They're better strategists, better leaders, better leaders at home even. This is why supposedly men should be like the head of the family. Supposedly. It was like 2,000 years ago when we had that. Not around anymore, but yeah, women are just not very good leaders in a lot of places. All right, so it's a good thing, but let's see how she puts that as the patriarchy and something bad.
Conflict, through gray level, complex level thinking. What happens is there can't be a lot of ranks in the oppressed class, especially when the oppressed class is in danger or when one of the oppressed class is in danger. So women have had to learn the type of communication and the type of existence that doesn't necessarily rely on a ranking system or a bro code type system. Women have to deal with more complex issues than that on the daily because of how much they are oppressed by men. So when you start trying to convince yourself that a man did something because, and then you start weaving this really complex emotional narrative involving his trauma, involving his mother, involving the way that you looked at him 5 days ago or the way that you looked at another man 5 days ago, like none of that is relevant. The reason that your man is treating you like shit and like not doing the things you want is because he's pulling rank. He has perceived himself to have the higher power dynamic in the relationship. He is going to see how long you are going to let him pull rank. All there is to it. And this is why men will be oblivious to the fact that a woman has checked out of their relationship like weeks or months ago or whatever. That's because he is not weaving a complex emotional narrative in his head about what the woman is doing.
What a simplistic way to view men, the world, relationships. Yeah, it's just that men are stupid animals based on power ranking or something, like an anime power ranking, you know? Such a simplistic way to view men. And also, no, men are not oblivious to how the woman feels in the relationship because they don't care about her. Men are oblivious because women who are stupid like you don't share their problems, alright? Guys, who can relate? Being in a relationship, you ask your girlfriend how she's feeling, alright? You directly ask her, how are you feeling? How is the relationship going? Do you feel alright? Because you care about her. And she says, everything is fine. I'm feeling so loved. The butterflies, it's all so beautiful. And it could be days later. She tells you, it's horrible. I've been feeling bad for the last 3 months. You just don't care. What? Have you had this, guys? Like, literally things are going well. According to her words, this is not something you made up in your head. And 3 days later, you have a little argument. You have a little stupid argument over whatever bullcrap. And she tells you that it's all bad. That there's no hope. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. Armageddon. The world is ending. Apocalypse. We're all gonna die. It's all doomed. I haven't felt love for the last 3 years. It's like, Geez, this is not complex. This is stupid, all right? You're not complex. You are unstable. It's like, geez. So that's why a lot of men are oblivious. Try to use your mouth, all right? Try to talk and convey your emotions. You're so complex. You're so emotionally intelligent. All right. You're so much better than men. All right. Try to express that, all right? But they can't.
He thinks that he has successfully pulled rank and gotten her to submit to the conditions of their relationship. The reason that men will be stubborn for years and years and years about doing these simple things that you're asking, begging them, bending over backwards for them to do these things. The reason that they never do them is because they're pulling rank. The reason that they don't notice when you've checked out and stopped asking them to do those things and like you emotionally checked out of the relationship and there's nothing in it for you. The reason that they didn't notice that and the reason they were blindsided by you breaking up with them or asking for a divorce or whatever is precisely because they don't think in complex emotional narratives. Had they been doing that, they would have been trying to get to the bottom of your complex emotional narrative, but they're not. They thought that they successfully dominated you and finally gotten to the place where they can pull rank on you, and you have basically agreed to these conditions that they have been setting for you the entire time you've been in a relationship with them. They've been telling you, I'm going to do this and I'm not going to do this. And so when you have checked out of that relationship for the last time, instead of thinking, oh my gosh, wow, she doesn't care anymore to like ask me about these little things, to engage with me on this emotional level, like they're not thinking that. They're thinking, oh, she finally got it. She's finally understood the message and I can rest easy. And that's why they're so dumbfounded, is because they don't think like you. That's just all there is to it. So if a man is ever treating you like shit, don't start weaving this whole complex narrative of why he's doing that, because he's really just doing it to see if he can get away with it and for how long, because that's how men are taught to operate. He's not doing anything based on his understanding of the complex emotional situation at play. He sees the world in a different way. He sees it in ranks, and he's not willing to be ranked below you. That's why he's stubborn and hurtful and like all of that, is because he doesn't want you to control him or whatever. What you think is love, what you think is you giving somebody a second chance, a third chance, etc., like working things out, going to the therapist, all that stuff, to them, he's just waiting for the day that you will finally submit to him pulling rank on you. That's all there is to it. So just leave him and know that that's actually how.
All right, so the video ends right here. I know that many of you are thinking, thank the Lord. There's one thing I agree with her, and it's that men don't want to be controlled. We don't want to be bossed around. It's not how the world works. Yes, men should be the one in control of the relationship. That doesn't mean that they make up all the rules and that you are a slave. No, but that's how the dynamic works. And why do I know that the dynamic works? Oh, Hidan, isn't that convenient for you? You're a man and you want men to be the leaders. No, women also want men to be the leaders. Women straight up don't respect and don't pick men who are not leaders. They don't like it. They don't like to be accountable. They don't like them making the decisions. They don't like them leading the relationship. This is not my preference or any man's preference. This is how it works. And it doesn't if there is not a power dynamic. Right? And another thing I agree with her, it's true that a lot of women feel like their husbands don't listen, feel like there is a miscommunication, feel like they share with them what they heard about and what problems they have, and men don't provide an answer to that as they are supposed to. Notice again, guys, she expects men to do this and that and the other thing, and she bails out of relationships the moment her boyfriend doesn't provide answers, doesn't provide solutions, right? So she expects out of the men to lead, yet at the same time, her narrative is that men shouldn't lead, excuse me. Notice how she contradicts herself. It's so funny. These women, for all they talk, they don't change reality. They don't even change it for themselves. They can't live in a reality where what they say is true, right? But yeah, going back to my point, I think that men should maybe focus more on what their wives, girlfriends, significant others share. But women should also be understanding towards how men operate, and don't just view them as problem-solving machines, ATM machines. You are here to provide solutions and money. And the moment you don't do that, I am bailing out. Not gonna work well. Now, gentlemen, let's move on to our article story. Mentioned a woman being rejected her whole life. Let's check it out. 25, female, being rejected my whole life. I'm a 25-year-old woman. I have a good job. I'm decent looking. I go to the gym 5 times a week. That's quite respectable. So I'm fit and I have a decent personality. So out of all those things she mentioned, and it's funny how she starts with I have a good job. My mouth is tired of repeating that we don't give a shit about your job. We are happy for whatever interests you, alright? It's not that we don't care, it's that romantically, it's not significant for us. You can work at McDonald's or you can work as the CEO of a rocket ship company. We don't care romantically. But then again, out of all these things she mentioned, the one I least believe is the decent personality. I trust her that she has a good job and is decent looking and goes to the gym. But the decent personality, guys, people in general have a very inflated idea of who they are. And that is especially true for women, because men at least get the reality check from their friends and from society. But women have society cuddling them, telling them how special they are and how beautiful of people they are and how they are queens and all that. So women especially tend to have a much more inflated idea who they are as people. My entire life I've had to deal with nothing but rejection, and it's taken a toll on me. I recently developed a crush on someone and I tried putting in the effort to talk to him, get to know him, ask questions, and try to see him when I can, but this wasn't being reciprocated from his end, so I think it's time to move on. So what do you get out of these last 2 sentences, guys? That she's chasing Chad. How do I know that? First off, he dismissed her, he couldn't care less about her. Out of all the men I know, guys, let me know if this is true for you, but out of all the men I know in my life, a woman that is a 7 to 8 out of 10 will secure a relationship with like 90% of all the men that I know, right? Men don't tend to be picky, so the fact that this man dismissed you, given that most men, just by default, will have a relationship with a woman that is decent enough, which you are according to you, is a red flag. Also, women having to put in the effort is also a red flag, because as we all know, women can just sit on their behinds and look cute and they will be approached by men, alright? So a woman going out of her way to chase a man in most of the cases is a red flag, because she's chasing Chad. I continue. Are the guys I like going for women who are far better, prettier than me, and that's why I keep getting rejected? I don't feel like I'm going for guys out of my league, but I guess they think they can do better than me. Women saying that they're not going for guys out of their league means nothing to me. It's nothing. You just didn't say anything, because every woman in existence thinks that when they go for that 6 feet tall, 6-digit salary man, they are dating in their league, you know? I invest so much in myself and have recently started therapy to work on my confidence and self-esteem. I'm trying my best to work on myself, but being 25 and never having a boyfriend is very disheartening. All I want is for a guy I like to like me back, excuse me. Sad emoji face. Oh, guys, she's sad. Sad puppy eyes. Sorry. I'm sick of people telling me I need to work on myself, or the right one will come along when I least expect it. I'm doing my best to work on myself, and I'm trying to go for nice, decent guys. I just feel like utter crap right now. Welcome to the everyday life of your average man. Notice how sad she is, guys. Like, there's one sad emoji here, another one over here. She's writing this with like this sad face. Oh man, damn, why am I so sad and lonely? Well, for men, this is like your average experience. They can't handle it. But well, I don't know, guys. She doesn't seem, from what I can read, like a bad woman. She's not out here talking like she owns the place. I appreciate that in these times. But I think that she's just going for Chad, right? I think that she could be with men, like, you say that you have a decent personality and that you are decent looking. Guys, women in our society who have decent personalities and are decent looking are not single. And if they are, it's by choice. You know what I mean? Maybe it's just me, but I don't know. I don't see many women walking around who are decent looking and have decent personalities and can't have a boyfriend. I don't see many of them, guys. Do you? Do you see a lot of beautiful women with good personalities walking around that cannot get men? What this speaks to me is high expectations. Too high, right? Let's check one or two comments. My first boyfriend was at 24. Before that, I got the same problem as you and was equally confused. Then as I grew older, I realized that the reason I finally got a boyfriend is because I became less judgmental and guarded than before. Didn't even realize it at first. Maybe not exuding the right energy. Yeah, that could be true. Maybe, again, this comes with this self-inflated image. Maybe this woman doesn't have such a decent personality. She's just not aware of it. Another one. It's weird how I stood near a guy I liked and nothing happened. Counts as rejection. No, she made some effort. Hard to imagine this is true if you really are, if you're really a mid-20s attractive woman. That's what I'm talking about, man. Either you're shooting out of your league massively or some important info is not disclosed. I mean, guys, this is the perfect comment, so we'll just leave it out here. Like, that's what I'm saying, guys. Women, look, you cannot be good looking and a good woman and be single. These are mutually exclusive. All right. Women are, you see the toxic women that are massive red flags, how much attention they get. Now think of a woman that is good looking but also a nice personality. Like, come on, you should need a boat to swim across all the men that are trying to get with you, right? So if you pile the men that are interested in women who are good looking with good personalities, one on top of each other, you could probably reach the moon. All right, so don't hit me with that whole, I'm single, I just can't land guys. She's probably either dismissing a massive red flag or is single because her expectations are too high. But gentlemen, do you agree? Of course you agree, because I always speak the truth. So like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. You can find me on Patreon if you want more desert. And thanks to all of you for supporting me through your watch time, likes, and Patreon. I'll see you next time, guys. Have a good one.